Hi, welcome back. Welcome to our spoil.
See, that don't look like Legolas there. Like
A
spoiler-ish.
Welcome to the spoil episode of The Hobbit, the Desolation of Smog, and we have just confirmed that Tad
I swear it was something completely different.
was wrong about Legolas.
See?
He was
no blue eyes. Like, what, his eyes just turned brown over time or some shit? Like, what the hell?
Okay, that is something I will point out. Yes, I agree with you. In the Lord of the Rings movie, his eyes, I want to say in the Fellowship, his eyes were brown. And if I remember correctly, I think in the Two Towers, his eyes were blue. And then in the Return of the King, his eyes were blue. But there was a lot of shots with him with brown eyes and would flip back and forth.
So
actually, that is from the Two Towers. That picture? Yeah, that's from the Two Towers. And that's... Okay, yeah, so... In the first movies, his eyes were brown. And now his eyes are, like, really creepy blue in The Hobbit. That could have something to do with what's going to happen. Like, something magical might happen to him or something. And he might lose the blue eyes. That's what I'm guessing. But they are really, really, like, out of place, in my opinion.
He doesn't look like Legolas to me. Like, he's got this really fat-looking face.
So, what happened if you watched the other video? Tad thought there was another guy that went to Lake Town.
It wasn't actually Legolas.
Even though Legolas went to the door and said, I don't remember what her name was now.
Where's elf chick?
Where's elf warrior chick at? And they're like, she left, my lord. And he went, and then they show him stopping her at like the edge of the lake. And she's like, I'm gonna go there. And I asked Tad, well, weren't you confused? And he's like, well, yeah.
It looked like two completely different people, and I was like, why are they sending someone who looks just like Legolas?
And I would say, yes. And I kept saying that, yes, he does look different. Because he kept saying, well, he doesn't look the same as he did in the first Hobbit movie, or the first Lord of the Rings. And I'm like, yeah, he's 10 years older.
Well, I remember, like, as I was watching it, I saw Legolas, I was like, that's Legolas. And I saw someone else, I was like, that's not Legolas. In the same, like, right in the next scene, like, two different people, because he had, like, a fatter face. And he had, like,
and
blue
sad
eyes.
thing is, I think he did the stunts.
Hmm?
He did his stunts.
In this one? Or?
Yeah. It was like little stunts he didn't do. So, Orlando Bloom, you're not looking as good as you used to. I guess that's what Tad's saying.
No. In the same movie of Desolation of Smog, I saw two different Legolases. I swear.
Not only did you see two different Legolases,
I was convinced.
You thought there were two different people.
I was convinced, because they had the one that I knew as Legolas. Like, even as I was watching the trailer,
he even had
there's two scenes where, like, one, he had brown eyes, and, like,
he never had the brown eyes
and
in this
skinnier
one.
face. Like, it was the way the light was going on it. And then the very next scene is when he's in Lake Town fighting the orcs. And, like, as I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, that motherfucker's gonna die. Like, he's, like, just fighting these three orcs. He's, like, he's holding his own, like, he's gonna die, and the one chick's gonna come in and save him, and they didn't do it. And it was like,
yeah.
I didn't know that was Legolas. I didn't know. I don't remember them saying that in Lake Town at all.
He took the Goblin Cleaver. He had it the whole time. He used it against that orc, and that orc, like, threw it on the ground. Did you not notice that?
He pulled his sword out and shit.
That was the Goblin. That was the one he took from Thorn.
Oh, yeah, I guess, sure.
Did you not notice that?
I didn't pay attention to the sword. I just saw him pull his sword out.
Because he took it from Thorn.
I remember he took it from Thorn.
And then he had it on him the whole time.
I don't remember seeing him putting it on there, him holding it like this and be like, oh.
Yeah, he did, because he held it up. He's like, this is an elvish sword. And he, like, was all admiring.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I do not remember him going and putting it on his...
Yeah, he did, because he had it the rest of the time.
See, this is how much it held my attention. I don't remember that kind of shit.
I don't see how... Right, well, your argument is kind of...
I remember him having it. I do not remember him putting it on.
Your argument is... Because I did pay attention. It did keep my attention, so I don't understand, like, why it didn't keep yours, I guess.
I just didn't. Some movies do that, some don't. Like, Sucker Punch kept my attention the entire time, and I'm just kind of like,
I thought, because I was kind of curious how he was going to get his sword back. How Thorn was going to get his sword back. And I kept, like, waiting for the moment where he took it back, but he never did. And Legolas kept it. He's a thief like that, I guess. And, well, I guess this is spoilers. Smog doesn't die at the end.
Yeah, they end.
I really thought he was. I thought that's how this was going to end.
They're going to start it with him attacking Lake Town, apparently.
He's going to destroy Lake Town. If you ever... that's the other thing, too. I don't really feel like this is a spoiler review.
If you've read the book.
Well, the book's been out for, like...
70 years?
Yeah, at least. More. If you're not up to date with what's going on in it, it's your own fault, I guess.
You're missing out on a good read. That's a really good book.
Well,
the whole, that was the one book I was able to, like, read through cover to cover for the first time ever. Like, I remember, like, getting it, I was like, oh, I'll read it for school. And I could not put it down. I was just so...
I thought you didn't read The Hobbit.
No, I was like, that's the only one I've read. I have the other ones. I borrowed that one from the library. I was just bought it for this reading program thing we had to do. And I was like, I read it front to back in like 2 days. I loved it.
I was really disappointed in the Filled in Spiders or Mirkwood scene.
I was not. I was actually very happy it was over when it was over.
I thought it should have gone on longer. I thought spent more time.
Getting chills just thinking about it.
It was before I even got to the spider stuff. I'm not talking about the spider stuff. I'm talking about just them going through Mirkwood, and it seemed like it was really rushed. Yeah. And other stuff was like focused on a lot of talking in this one.
Lots of dialogue.
They had the famous Pete Jackson cameo. Did you spot where he was at?
Right at the beginning, he came out, eat the carrot. I remember you were laughing, and
yeah.
I was like, "Why are you laughing?"
Where was his daughter at?
I don't know. I don't know what his daughter looks like. Like
she was that little Hobbit girl. And the first one, it was like, remember when they were telling the story about the trolls?
Sure.
Do you really remember?
No.
Remember when Bilbo was telling the story?
You're not gonna get anywhere here. Just keep going.
She was the waitress waiting on Thorin in the Prancing Pony.
Oh, cool.
No, I think she was wearing pink. Cool. She's a lot older now than she was then. I'm glad. She might have been. I thought I seen her in the first Hobbit movie, but I wouldn't be able to tell you where I spotted her at. But I think I saw her in the first one. I wouldn't be surprised if she was. I'm pretty sure she probably was. I'm sure Pete Jackson was too, and I don't really remember spotting him either. I think he was in Hobbit at one point, but I'm not sure about that. No, wait. No, he was a dwarf running from the castle when it was on fire in the first one. Cool. He was right in front of Thorn when they're all coming out of the castle, the mountain.
Kingdom.
Kingdom. The kingdom. The Lonely Mountain. What else can we spoil? Oh, there was a love triangle between a dwarf, an elf, and an elf. Which kind of recycled some lines from the other movies, which was kind of like, oh, a good opportunity. I think it was a good idea, and it was like,
wasn't she the one that had the love triangle with Aragorn in the other movies, or is this a completely different elf girl? It's the same actress.
Is it?
Yeah, Evangeline Lilly or whatever, because she played the elf girl in the Lord of the Ring movies. I don't remember what the elf girl's name was in that one. She was Elrond's
daughter.
Yeah.
Is now in Mirkwood.
Apparently. I don't know.
You talking about Liv Tyler?
They look so similar.
That was...
They both got that big mouth and the pointy face. I don't know.
Wow.
You're such an asshole.
This is why I won the Trivial Pursuit.
I let you.
No, that is two different elves.
They look so similar, though.
Yeah, they probably do, because now you're just being racist towards elves. Because now, if anybody with pointy ears and is tall and skinny looks kind of good,
no,
they all look the same.
You put them side by side, and you're going to tell me like they don't look similar at all. Like, not just because, they got pointy ears and they got brown hair. Like, no, like the faces are...
Yeah, because all elves have like a style that's similar, though.
Lord of the Rings!
Okay, and we're back. And Tad's trying to say Liv Tyler looks like
Evangeline Lilly. I think that's how you say her name.
The girl from Lost.
They look very, very similar when they're in the elf makeup.
Why didn't you just look up that picture?
Because I had their pictures here. And they still look kind of similar. Like, one has a bigger forehead and wider eyes.
I do not see it.
I've seen it. Here's...
Well, if you think Liv Tyler looks like the new elf chick in Lord of the Rings, I'll spoil it for you. That is not Liv Tyler as a completely new character. But as I were saying before the break,
there's a love triangle.
There's a love triangle between the guy who doesn't look like a dwarf at all, in my opinion.
He's really pretty.
Yeah, he's a pretty dwarf.
Pretty dwarf.
He's a pretty. I guess when you're younger, except if you're Gimli.
You don't have a beard. Like, isn't it? I thought it was like disgraceful or something like that for dwarf men to not have beards.
I don't. Maybe it is.
I swear.
I thought it more or less was just hard to keep shaved because it grows in so much so quicker. But I don't really know for sure. Yeah. So that was kind of interesting.
He was an archer too. That was cool. He's an archer.
Anything to add about the love triangle?
It just reminded me a lot of.
Yeah, that was kind of sad because it kind of borrowed lines. That was my only problem too. It was like, you're gonna do it. Just
it probably didn't need to be there though. Like,
no, I thought it was all right.
I don't know if it really added. They gave her a reason to go Lake Town, I guess, but
yeah,
that's about it.
Yeah.
They had to find a reason to get
Legolas little halfling kids. I'm kind of pulling for her. I don't think Legolas is going to end up with her because Legolas didn't seem that way in the
other ones.
Well,
to be fair,
well, we'll also spoil it for you. 7 dwarves are going to die.
No, which ones?
Like the names? I couldn't even tell you all the names of all the dwarves anyway.
The bear guy was pretty cool. I wish they'd spent more time with that though.
He'll be back.
Oh, I know, but I wish they'd spent more time with
that was really brief in the book, though.
He was so cool.
They were only there for like a day, I think.
I wonder if they're
He's not what I thought he would look like.
He reminded me...
I'll say that.
He reminded me of the lions from the sci-fi 3-parter Tin Man. Have you watched that?
No, I never watched that.
It's pretty good. It's about the Wizard of Oz thing, but
yeah, I know what it's about.
It's like based in the future after like generations has happened of the Wizard of Oz, and the lions are like evolved in this weird like lion thing, and they're very human looking, but they have extra fur. Like it looked like him, like that, but he was like taller.
I think you're doing a little too much on that.
No, they get it. They like it. It's okay. Shh. All the comments say shut him up.
I think how he was described in the book was, it seemed like he had he was wearing like a bear skin, and when he turned into a bear, it's like he pulled it down and he was bear-like.
This one he just
turns into a bear.
A shapeshifter. They call him
which I don't. That was the first time. I don't remember them mention that in the book. I just think they just said that he seems like a bear, and he pulls down the thing and. So I could imagine he was I imagined him a big, hairy, bearded guy with a bear skin on his head, and that's how I picture him in the book. I imagine him as tall as he was, but
he was really skinny. Like
he wouldn't think he was skinny. I think he was really muscular.
He was really tall, and he had muscles on him. He wasn't like jacked.
So he was like
means.
Partially what I pictured.
He didn't really have much of a beard, and he had really bushy eyebrows.
Yeah.
Like, you could curl those motherfuckers.
I
liked all the...
I've heard people complain that Bilbo didn't have much to do in this.
He did quite a... He saved him, like, a lot. Like, he got him out
he didn't have any really character development. He was just kind of there to help things out. That's why I've heard the complaint. People complain.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. He's kind of the same as he was... At the end of the first one, he had all that courage, and he came up and saved Thorin or whatever, and then that was his character from the entire movie. He wasn't really afraid to do anything. He was just like, I can help these guys, and I can save them, and I'm going to solve everything. I'm going to go in and face Smog. Like, he wasn't really ever... He might have been afraid, but he never really showed it.
I don't think... especially in the books, at that point when he had the ring, he stopped being
So cowardice.
Well, he was being more cowardice, but he was a lot more braver because he could hide better. Basically. So
I liked how when he had the ring on and he could understand what the spiders were talking.
that was really clever. Yeah, because I like how they've been, obviously they kind of put the setting into like a more realistic world, so the eagles aren't talking, the wolves aren't talking, and the birds aren't talking. And in the books, if you read the books, like everything talked, had its own language, and everybody could understand each other. But they have cleverly gotten around stuff like that when they were getting chased by wolves, and the wolves were like saying stuff. They gave them, instead of wolves, they're wargs now, and now that white guy is chasing him, but they even kept his face kind of half-y wolf expression in the first one. And in this one, I think the spider named the sword, like, because he complained how much it stings. Oh. So now he puts the ring on, and he can hear this evil creature. His thoughts are, he can hear it speaking, and he said the same thing. And I was like, wow, that was really, really clever how they got around that. So, anything to add
about that part?
Just in general.
I liked the back and forth between Bilbo and Smog.
Oh, that was like line for line from the book, though.
I know, but I think they portrayed it very, very well.
Well, I think, because I think that's why that was so strong. And I would almost say that was like the same thing that was really strong about Bilbo and Gollum in the first one. Was they really didn't mess with it. They kind of left it alone. And it was already good, so it didn't really need any touching up or anything added. Well, I like how... See, because they kind of changed the premise of the story a little bit in the fact that the dwarves aren't really going after their gold like it was in the book. They're...
What is it called? The Everstone?
Yeah, the thing they talked about in the first movie, the shiny... The heart of the mountain. Which was not in the book. Together. But apparently this thing will unite all the dwarf clans
under one banner.
Yeah. Which kind of makes sense for the end, because it was like the three armies, and the dwarves came to help them, and that would make sense that's why they came to help them. So yeah, I mean, I think originally in the book they had Bilbo go after, like, just get some gold and bring it back, and now they told him to go in and get the stone, which was, I was like,
where are you gonna find this fucking thing?
Can I just bring a cup? You know, like
prove that I got in there.
Yeah, I burglarized it.
No. Did he ever grab? I know he saw it and stuff. He was getting really close.
No, he never got it.
So like Thorin was freaking out. Like,
he didn't have to get it because Smog took off at the end and left him in there.
Yes.
So it's still in there. You can just go back and get it. Well, you guys have an idea where it's at.
I don't know. Smog was smashing around gold and stuff pretty well.
Yeah, but he was like really close to it. So he might have grabbed it. If he did, they didn't show it.
I kind of like.
But I think if he didn't grab it, he's got an idea. It's like it's over in this area, like, and they'll probably find it pretty quick.
I kind of like how like that stone was the ring for Thorin. Like, he was obsessed with it almost.
I don't think he's obsessed. No, I think he's obsessed with the gold. Because you didn't. You didn't watch you didn't watch the special edition of The Hobbit yet, have you?
No.
Okay. Well, in the special edition of The Hobbit, if anybody hasn't watched it, Thorin is kind of falling under the same vices as his father and his grandfather.
That's probably why he got upset when they were like, you're your grandfather.
Because he stopped him with the sword, and he's like, where is it? Yeah.
See, that's why I thought he was like, the stone was what he was like, I gotta have the stone, not the gold.
He's kind of... But we'll see how his story arc goes from there, because obviously it's going to be some changes, but it's going to try to, like... I'm pretty sure it's going to try to reroute to the way it was in the book. Or very similar. But because in the book, Bilbo had his back and forth with the dragon, and they left, and then the dragon got really ticked off and went and destroyed Lake Town. And this, they couldn't have that because then it makes the dwarves look like pricks. So
they had to try and have him.
They had to try and defeat the dragon, which I mean,
that was kind of a cool scene.
It was cool, but at the same time, if you read the books, you know that he's got to go destroy Lake Town. So it was all for nothing. Like, he was like...
What was his excuse for leaving? He was mad, like they burned him with the gold? Like, I'm going to destroy Lake Town.
Yeah.
He was just...
Basically, that's what he said, yeah. It's like... Screw you guys. He's like talking about doing it anyway. He's like, well, if you don't want me to, I'm going to do it anyway. You know, he was threatening it. And then he's like, well, then I'm just going to go do it now. So... Yeah, so that it was kind of like it was not for nothing. Like, it was like, I guess it makes the dwarves don't look so bad, but at the same time, you knew they weren't going to succeed. Like, they were going to fail at this.
Yeah, it was inevitable.
Yeah, like no matter what they were going to do, they were going to fail. I was like, so it's that kind of sucked going into it. Like, I guess ignorance would have been bliss in that factor, because if you didn't know what was going on, then you might have been like, oh yay, and then boo.
Emotional roller.
They changed the Black Arrow. I was kind of curious to see what that was going to look like. And then it turned out it was like this whole other thing that makes more sense. But...
the high-powered bow.
Yeah. Well, high-powered bow and like an arrow. It's like the size of a person almost. Like a spear.
Yeah.
So...
on the Black Arrow note, the character Bard,
yeah,
he looked so much and acted kind of a lot like Orlando Bloom did in the Pirates of the Caribbean. I remember saying that on the way home.
Yeah,
he just reminded me like the makeup work on him.
I think it might have just been the hair and the costume, to tell you the truth, because I would say that kind of looked like
Will Turner,
Will Turner-ish.
But I
don't think the way he acted, because Will Turner was always like, you gotta go save Elizabeth.
I need to save my father.
Yeah, then he was like, which was that's a whole other thing.
We're on the Hobbit, though.
Because, yeah. You're gonna go save your father, then you might have been concerned that the fact that he's undead and stuck at the bottom of the ocean, if you're gonna free the curse and kill him. Whatever. I don't know, is there anything else you want to add about The Hobbit?
I think we've about covered everything.
You think so? So you do know there was just one Orlando Bloom, and
It wasn't Liv Tyler.
It wasn't Liv Tyler, right?
I get that.
We're clear?
I'm stating a fact. For me,
and Cumberbatch was the dragon.
Which I didn't know who that was till you said it.
Like, I think you didn't watch this movie. Like, you just kind of like were in and out. Like, eh.
More or less, I was. I remember like seeing parts and I was like, how did I get to this point? 'Cause I was like,
where is the prancing pony? Where am I at? Where's Harrison Ford?
I didn't understand. That confused me. Why they started off that way with him showing like, we know you need to get a burglar. Like, I didn't understand the scene in the beginning. It was like 12 months later, and
previous
picked it up. Like, yeah, like they could have done something like they did in the Lord of the Rings movies, where they kind of showed the last.
I think it was just
bits, trying something new. I guess I don't know.
Revisit that prancing pony. I really didn't. Yeah, I would agree. It didn't add to anything. It wasn't Gandalf fighting a Balrog down a giant pit.
Well, they didn't necessarily need to have that. They could have had like them dropping off at the thing and then climbing down or whatever. Like,
so you would rather have seen him scaling down a wall?
I would have had them like pick up like them looking at the mountain and then like zooming back to like making their way
so
down,
like,
and then they can pick it up like.
So your ending, or your beginning to the Desolation of Smog is the exact ending. You're like, it's not that far. We're like, all right, let's get down from here, guys. It's like backing up. Like, geez, why can't the Eagles just take us there?
Eagles are pricks.
The Eagles aren't pricks. highly intelligent creatures that don't want to get involved. So yeah, your thing is like they're just walking down the hill.
Well, it didn't make sense for me to have them like start there and then like 12 months later have Bilbo's head pop up over this rock. Like,
well, that's kind of different too because, like I said, I don't remember them being chased because the eagles got them so far away in the books anyway that they were kind of safe until they got to Mirkwood. Then Mirkwood was its own disaster. But in this movie, man, those guys were relentless. They wanted Thorin's head. And they like, we don't care how far those eagles fly. We will ride night and day to get on their butts again. And they totally were. I was surprised. And even the giant bear that was like lurking around didn't scare them away. The elves going in the elvish forest didn't scare them away.
Yes,
going into Lake Town didn't scare these guys away. They were like, we're killing this guy. This guy's gonna die.
Do you like Gandalf and Sauron's
That was cool.
fight?
I didn't like... There was like one thing I didn't like about that was they showed Sauron like in the armor. When he was like kind of revealed. Yeah, because they kind of like revealed Sauron. And he was like... At first when they were kind of doing it, because there was an idea from the Return of the King
when he actually fought Sauron, yeah,
where they were going to have him. Well, he was going to come before Aragorn, and he was going to look like he did when he presented himself to the elves, like all like angel-like and really beautiful and stuff like that. And I thought at first, I was like, oh, they're going to do that. That's going to be totally cool to see like Sauron's true face and how like awesome, and then turn like evil and then back into the eye. Because I figured they're going to go for the eye thing because just the way it was setting up. But I thought they were going to go like angel, evil, because then they could have gone like armor and then eye. But then I don't know, they didn't do that. They just kind of went armor. And I was like, man, they kind of looked really cheesy. And I was like, oh, okay.
They just went into a giant ball of shadows.
It was a cool setup. I just did the only thing I didn't like was they just kind of revealed him in the armor, and I was like, they could just silhouetted black and then to eye, I would have been happier with that. But it was okay. Gandalf seems a little boned. I don't know how he's gonna get out of that one. It kind of like raises the question too. Like, it seems like they're kind of revealing way too much right now, and I'm kind of curious on. Because in, like, the Fellowship of the Ring, they seemed so ignorant to what was going on. And this one, it's like, oh yeah, Sauron's totally come back. Like,
he clearly understands.
Yeah, he's clearly back. Gandalf knows.
And Radagast.
Oh, Radagast doesn't really know because he didn't see it. But, I mean, Gandalf's seen it now. And that's like...
Yeah, but you're going to assume, like, once he get out, he would tell people about it. And
yeah, but I mean, like, there was that famous scene in the the Fellowship of the Ring when he's coming over the mountainside to Gondor, and he sees like the volcano in the distance, and it's all red, and the smoke coming from Mordor, and he's like, oh, he's back. Yeah, he's back.
Clearly, he's already starting to get power.
Yeah, he's getting power, and that's like, well, wouldn't you have known?
Well,
he's back.
Were in the tombs of the ring wraiths or whatever too.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, because I never actually, that was like the thing I didn't read. I didn't read I know it happened. Like they were chasing Sauron around. I think what's going to happen is I think they're going to defeat him in that form, and they're probably going to be like, oh, win, high fives. Like I think Galadriel's going to come out. And I think. Maybe even Saruman's going to come out. And they're going to have this big, epic wizard battle against Sauron.
And then Radagast's going to die.
And then... I don't think Radagast's going to die. But I think they're going to... I think they're going to win. Like, they're going to feel like they destroyed the spirit. And maybe they do. But obviously, because the ring's not destroyed...
He can't die.
He can't die. And they probably aren't... They're probably not too clever to that fact yet.
Wasn't his whole purpose, Gandalf's at least, to find the ring and destroy it? Wasn't that his...
Yeah, but he wasn't aware of his purpose. Till he did it. Basically.
So
Like, you don't know your purpose in life. But I'm sure, like, at the end of your life, you're like, oh, okay. Got it.
My job was to be awesome.
Yeah.
I have
Lose
succeeded.
all my hair. And confuse Orlando Bloom with Liv Tyler. I didn't do it. You're the one that did it. You were so sure of it, too.
Why do you always take hair shots at me?
Oh, hair shots? I was talking about the Orlando Bloom thing.
Yeah, because like, you're gonna lose all your hair, and then
You are, though.
you don't have the hats, like lots and lots of hats. You're such an asshole. Like,
You get that Facebook thing I sent you?
yeah,
The Goku?
that's Vegeta actually.
Vegeta? Or whatever. It was pretty funny. I didn't think if there's anything else to add. It kind of ended suddenly.
Oh no.
Boom.
Yeah.
What do we do?
We'll find out in a year. Apparently.
Yeah. Credits.
I'm trying to think what the whole third movie is, because it's just gonna be like one giant fight, because they have the fight with Smog, and then they have like
A fight with the Smog's gonna destroy Lake Town.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna shoot him with the arrow.
yeah. And then
And-
I'm assuming the rest of that like filler before they
Wait.
have the three.
They got the fight with Saruman.
Wait,
or
yeah.
Sauron.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna have the army of 3.
So it's just gonna be like fight after fight after fight.
Yeah. That's especially why I thought Smog was gonna die in this one.
There's a lot of fights.
Because there's a lot. And then there's like the love triangle that they gotta wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
And Bilbo's gotta go home. Thorin's gotta die.
Thanks for ruining it for everybody.
This is spoilers.
For this movie, not next one.
This book spoiled it.
Well, not everything is like it is in the book.
Maybe it won't be. Maybe Thorin will live in the movie.
And he'll become king of all the elves and
Yeah.
dwarves and men. Or not. Or, that works. So.
He's gonna become king of the what?
Elves and dwarves.
I thought you just said the elves.
Well,
I'm
he's
like,
marrying that one
how?
dwarf into the elven family, and then he becomes really good friends with bards, and then he becomes ruler of all the men.
The love triangle wasn't with Thorin in that.
No, it was with the other dwarf guy. So he was gonna marry because that dwarf was his cousin, or was his brother. No, it was,
No,
cousin.
it was his cousin.
It was his cousin because the other cousin stayed behind. He's like, "This is
Yeah.
my brother." He's like, "You're with me, family." Blah 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 blah.
I think we ruined this movie enough. So
Ruined it. We made it even more enticing. So now you want to see it. 'Cause
yeah,
you're like,
I still stick with my thing. You should go see it.
yeah, definitely see it.
Yeah,
It's doing really well, man. It's like opening weekend, it had like 77
yeah, it probably will
million.
do well.
77 million opening weekend, so it's like that's not too shabby.
I don't think the sets are really cool. Acting was all well done.
The imagery is really pretty. I'll give it that. Like it was a very pretty.
There might have been some problems with the story, a little bit here and there, but
And,
overall it was still really good.
It had some dry spots in it.
Yeah, it would be nice to see.
That might just come up with the pacing though, because it would
Yeah,
go like.
well, it's the second part in a thing that wasn't supposed to be a second part, and I think that's what kind of, because I think that's what derailed the Two Towers too. Two Towers is like, I mean, people like to say Two Towers is the best out of the whole thing because the Helm's Deep battle, but I would argue it wasn't. And just the pacing of it, like if you watch it back to back to back, the Two Towers is good then. But if you just watch it by itself, it really doesn't stand alone.
It bridges this movie
Yeah.
and this movie, and that's only.
Yeah, that's what I say. This one does too. It really just
gets you from this area to this area.
it's gonna be a bridge, and it's a good, solid bridge. But a standalone movie, it's not that great, but it's still pretty good. So I would suggest watch The Hobbit, go see Desolation of Smog, and then buy your tickets for the next one. So
yeah.
that's it. Bye. Two Orlando Blooms.